Of course, we are keen. And now we cross over to a different one where the northeastern counties have in the past voted for Right Honorable Raila Odinga until Uhuru Kenyatta's change. And of course, this in the 2017 polls. Well, local leaders are hopeful that the numbers in the north will be high enough to tilt the 2027 outcome. And as Elizabeth Mutuku now reports, pundits, however, feel that the numbers may not replace the void left by the mountain.
The Kenya North, a place of nomadic pastoralists and inhabited by the Somali community, and a neighbor to Somalia.
We look alike, by the way. You see a Somali, you see a Somali. Our names are alike, we look alike. However, we are not the same.
A place that some have seen as one of the 2027 game changer and kingmaker in presidential ballots. In January of this year, the courts ordered a repeat census in 3 counties of the north, Wajir, Mandera and Garissa. This was after a petitioner challenged the 2019 census results in the counties. The Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, however, says the problem started way in the year 2009, where numbers were exaggerated in some areas. The 2009 results for the area of Lagdera, Mandera East, Mandera Central, West Wajir, East Turkana, Turkana South, and Turkana Central had been red flagged earlier by the then Minister of Planning, Wycliffe Oparanya.
The men were 3 times the women in those areas. So we were wondering how the men above 35 were staying without women.
The numbers in the northern part have, however, grown just like any other part of the country. According to the 2019 census, Kenya recorded a population of more than 47 million, more than 23 million being male, while more than 24 million are females. This was a growth of close to 10 million Kenyans in 2019 compared to 2009, which recorded 37.7 million Kenyans. In the 2019 census, the northeastern part recorded more than 800 Kenyans in Garissa and Mandera, more than 780 in Wajir, and more than 450 in Marsabit, Isiolo recording 268,000 of Kenyans. During the 2022 polls, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, reported that the northeastern region registered voters as follows: Mandera 217,030, Garissa 201,473, Wajir 207,758, Marsabit 166,912, Isiolo 89,504, totaling to 882,677 voters.
The mere fact that he is the one who has boldly said he's constructing the road, and construction work has already begun. The other issue is removing the punitive, vetting process that people from that part of the country were going through every time they were applying for ID cards, something that has seen their numbers, not reflected, not just in the voter register, but also in the number of people who have ID cards.
We seem to be unfair to our Somali brothers. And I think it was about time we found a more humane way, a more modern way of handling the vetting, but the vetting has to be there. But a more modern way, more humane than what they have gone through in the past.
Local leaders now claim that the details relayed on by regional leaders from northeastern Kenya in compelling the High Court to nullifying the 2019 Kenyan population and housing census results exposed a suspected scheme to deliberately doctor results of the census to show a lower population outcome if the 2019 census is anything to go by. The census, which set the region numbers lower than the previous census.
I think there was some gerrymandering during the census, and the numbers have been deliberately put low for many parts, including northern Kenya. But the numbers, I hear people floating, those are ridiculous numbers.
If they are sensitized, the pastoral communities, and they are pushed, like if you look at voting numbers are 25% of total population, 30% of total population. Even if we only push the numbers from that 25 to 50, the voting block will increase to almost 5.6 billion from the current, 3.6 or thereabout for the 14 ASAL counties.
2.5 million people, then how much is the registered voters? So they're around 600, 700,000. And so then you ask, then out of 2.5 million, why is it only 600? They don't have ID cards. Students don't get it. Nobody. You struggle for you to get, you have to really struggle to get identity.
After the landmark verdict by the High Court sitting in Garissa, which invalidated census reports of 2019 for Wajir, Mandera, and Garissa counties, citing discrepancies in the results, President William Ruto has also lifted a ban on vetting process by locals seeking identification cards. The president made the declaration during his visit of the region early this year.
By authority vested in me by the Constitution of Kenya, do hereby proclaim and order. Number one, that the extra requirements for vetting and ethnic profiling to which persons living within border counties are subjected to during registration and issuance of national identity documents shall be and is hereby discontinued.
Leo umetoa hiyo vikwazo ya identity cards. Hapa ID itakuwa nyingi, kura itakuwa nyingi, na itakuwa ni yako, Mheshimiwa Rais.
What he has done is that he has ended the apartheid we had in this country. Serious apartheid. Apartheid is not only South Africa. Apartheid is a place where you have a discrimination and you carry a special pass. We used to carry what was called like a pink card.
Now we feel that we are part of this country and we have gotten our freedom. This is the time we are getting our freedom, whereby the citizens in that part of the country will get their IDs without any problem.
Even as leaders and residents of the North celebrate the move by President William Ruto to lift the ban on tedious process of getting IDs, the question of security lingers in the minds of many Kenyans. The move was not received well in some quarters.
Watu wengi ambao wanatafuta vitambulisho northeastern ni wa Somali, kutoka Somalia. Na wao wanakuja hata vetting committee wanaipatia pesa, alafu wanapewa vitambulisho. Sasa hiyo committee imetolewa na kuna alternative. Na wakati rais anatangaza hivyo, kuna machifu 5 ambao walikuwa wameenda kupangia mkutano, walichukuliwa na Al-Shabaab, hawajapatikana mpaka saa hizi, wako Somalia. Wale watu ambao wamekamata machifu wetu sasa watapewa vitambulisho ya Kenya freely. Watapewa. Sasa wakitoka pale wakienda kuteka nyara watu wengine wakikamatwa, watakuwa wamebeba idea nani ya Kenya. Watakuwa wanasema Wakenya wamekuwa watu wa kuteka nyara watu. Hawa watu watapata pasipoti zetu, waende kula Amerika, waende wakalipue manyumba huko. Watasema Wakenya wanalipua manyumba huko. Mtapewa visa ya kwenda Amerika. These things ziko na serious security implications. Sio kitu ya kufanya kiholela namna hii.
This is fear mongering at its worst. That the people will be able to cross the porous border, come over and take the ID cards is a hoax. it's neither here nor there, because there are government officials, there are patriotic elders, there are chiefs and administration officials who are giving these ID cards. These ID cards are not being taken from, a self-service booth.
And the clan is extremely protective. They don't allow other people to come and infiltrate to get access to this or that document. There is some communal protection already in place that it's really, for me, and I was there as a governor for 10 years, it's impossible for me to conceive that we will have foreigners just coming to get access to the document just because the vetting has been eased.
For now, the matter has settled. Political pundits, however, see the region as a way of President William Ruto filling into the gap left by the mountain after a fallout with his former deputy Rigathi Gachagua.
We shall make whatever sacrifices necessary to make sure that William Ruto is a one-term president.
Najua mtihani ni 2027. Na hiyo mtihani ya 2027 sipangi kuanguka hiyo mtihani. Hiyo mtihani ya 2027 mimi najua vile nitapita hiyo mtihani.
In the 2022 polls, the Mount Kenya region stood to the man with President Ruto. The mountain boast of numbers on the ballot. In the 2022 polls, the counties of Meru, Tharaka Nithi, Embu, which form Mount Kenya East, recorded more than 1.3 million voters, according to IEBC. The counties of Mount Kenya West, which are Nyandarua, Nyeri, Kirinyaga, Murang'a and Kiambu, registered more than 3 million votes, while the counties of Nakuru and Laikipia, which are usually referred as Mount Kenya diaspora, recorded more than 1.2 million votes, while Nairobi recorded more than 2.4 million voters.
We'll be very careful. Makosa ile mingi sana ni yangu, mimi kwa sababu I did a lot of political miscalculation, probably for lack of sufficient experience. But now I know.
Leaders from the north are, however, in the rush to ensure more than 2.7 million people are registered in the area by 2027, which is translated to 333.5% growth.
The writing is on the wall. The ground has shifted. If elections were held today, overwhelmingly, Northeastern region will vote for President William Ruto. That is a given, and you can take it to the bank.
It is going to present an opportunity for the ASALs to be on the bargaining table. It's an issue that's going to present, the ASALs the opportunity for development in real time, because you have moved from a position of irrelevance to a position of extreme relevance. You matter. You can affect, you can tilt the political outcome in an election if you're organized. And that is what we, the pastoral communities, are mobilizing.
Wasomali ni wengi sana, wanaweza kuwa na kura nyingi sana, lakini tatizo lao moja ni kwamba hawakati kura. Mfano sasa tuseme wenye wamefikia umri ya kupata kitambulisho na kuchukua kura katika Kenya hii, jamii ya Wasomali tunaweza kusema ni zaidi ya milioni 3.
All those who are eligible to get IDs, and those who are eligible to get IDs also get voting cards. Then we could see our numbers double, and therefore when our numbers double, we could be tipping or tilting in favor of the president.
In the past voting pattern, the region has always voted ODM's Raila Odinga in the presidential elections, but this changed in the year 2017 when President Uhuru Kenyatta received a significant support from the region. Political pundits argue that the only way President William Ruto will win the region fully behind him is sticking with Raila Odinga through the 2027 general election.
For their own relevance, should they decide to vote as a bloc, at least for the president, and other positions are left, to be competed, left to competition between candidates, they will be able to know their own strength in serious terms, because they will be able to count their solid votes across these 14 ASAL counties. And having solid votes of 5.6 million votes is a game changer for the ASALs.
For now, we know Raila is working with Ruto. So one would expect two things to combine. One, the Northeastern province is always pro-government, save for a time when Raila invaded and he messed the government. Two, that Raila is the darling of the people in that region. So Northeastern should be an easy one for Ruto if he's working with Raila.
So he'll have to massage BAMBA and ensure that he gets BAMBA's endorsement for him to get the votes of a Northeastern. But probably these two small gestures he's doing, giving them ideas, appointing their members in critical positions in government, is probably meant to tell them, yes, you have been BAMBA's supporters, but I'm here as an alternative. Let's work together with you.
Of the 7.1 million votes that Ruto got in the year 2022 general election, 3.5 million came from the Mount Kenya region.
Hiyo sisi tulimkataa. Mimi mwenyewe nilimwambia usiguze mlima akaguza. Si ndio? I told him the people of mountain don't like betrayal, he betrayed us. I told him the people of this region hate deception, he deceived us. This problem is his own making. So frustrated as he is, bitter as he is, let him relax. Because even if he keeps on calling us tribalists, we had our own candidate called Mwaura Wahiga on the ballot. We never voted for him.
Saa zingine nyinyi mnatishwa, sijui one term, sijui how many terms, sijui nini. That is not my concern. 2027, kwani 2027 itakuwa uchaguzi tofauti kuliko ile yote tumefanya? Kwani iko shida gani? Watu watulize boli, mambo ya 2027 tutakutana 2027. Hakuna uchaguzi this year.
But whether the North will fit in the place of mountain is a matter of wait and see. The region has had its political parties, among them the United Democratic Movement, UDM.
We are not subset of any party. We are not subject to any other party. We exist as an equal opportunity party, a member of the coalition. We will further the coalition cause without infringing on our rights of our existence to participate in this democratic space.
They will feel they are not able to handle their politics the way they are used to, like you rightly put it, in terms of clan, in terms of who has had their share, instead of who should step down for who should come in, instead of so and so. They will feel that control is removed from them. So I think I would advise Ruto to let them manage their own politics by having their own local party.
They cannot wade into Northeastern with a single party, humongous one entity, and get the entire votes, because there are nuances, political nuances, there are clan rivalries, there are issues to do with kingpins from different parts of the region, from different counties who, do not see eye to eye. And they will not all find themselves in his party.
Whether or not it's one party or we have several other parties, I don't think it will be one party only, because I'm sure the ODMs will be there and the other parties will be there, the Kalonzos and everyone will be there. But I think generally, although their votes have always been whatever, because of the factors I've mentioned earlier, it's quite possible that the people in that region, when it comes to presidential, they might decide majority-wise, to take a particular position.
It's still a solid thing. And that's why we wanted Raila to become the president. That's why we wanted his father to become the president. We didn't vote for Ruto, by the way. My constituency gave him 508 votes. The least he got from any constituency. And I campaigned for Raila with my own money, with my own resources, and everything I could do, I did it for him. And he got 23,000 votes in my constituency. We're praying that there is no conflict between Raila and Ruto in the next election. Our prayers is that they should come together, and I think that is very likely.
Other counties that supported President Ruto included Elgeyo Marakwet, Nandi, Baringo, Narok, and Kajiado.
He knows that the people
who gave him the first term, quite a number have gone because the promises he made have not been fulfilled, obviously by design or by happenstance, they have not been fulfilled. So obviously he has to look for replacement for the people, his voters or his supporters who have gone.
President Ruto is also looking west in the counties of Kakamega, Vihiga, Bungoma and Busia.
The issue of numbers, political numbers, I think it's too early to say that these numbers will change this, because 2 years to election is very long. You never know what will form the wave, where Western will be.
The 2027 polls will also be determined by the youth vote, who by then will be eligible for the voting then. Some of them were not eligible for the voting in the year 2019. According to the 2019 census, more than 6.3 million voters who were not eligible voters in 2022 will be eligible for the 2027 polls. This includes more than 5.2 million voters who were between the ages of 15 years and 19 years of age by 2017. The vote of the youth under Gen Z revolution is said to likely be the major determinant in the 2027 general election, in what pundits insist that any serious candidate cannot ignore the numbers.
People want to take Kenyans for fools. There's nothing called Gen Z. Those who are privileged young men from a privileged community who have always been used to those privileges, who were set up and organized by their own parents and their own leaders and the rest of them. So there's nothing called Gen Z. And that's why right now when you talk about Gen Z, now that they have been unmasked and everybody knows exactly who's a Gen Z, people have walked out. Gen Z initially, in the very initial stages, every Kenyan, every young Kenyan wanted to be part of it. Go back to it now. Nobody wants to be part of it except the mountain people who had their own, the leadership that had its own strategy there.
Of course, across the country, the Gen Zs will be the majority. And depends on how active they will choose to be, or they will be mobilized into being. If the Gen Zs take a very active role in the election, it will be across the country. Of course, with varying degrees in terms of the Gen Zs in Nyanza, if Raila is supporting Ruto, may not be as pro-opposition as the Gen Zs say in Machakos, Kiambu and so on. But generally speaking, they will be very involved in elections.
Mine is just to tell them that yes, we like their aggressiveness. I personally am a mother of Gen Zs, and I encourage them to do the right things in the right way, so that even when it comes to decision making of electing, they'll have their votes, and their votes will then decide who will be our next leader.
The youth have been accused of not voting in the previous elections. In 2022 voting pattern, Nairobi recorded the highest numbers with more than 1.7 million voters who were at the ages of 18 to 34. It would appear that President William Ruto is banking in the projected numbers in the north to replace the vote-rich mountain. But the question is, will the numbers translate into votes? Elizabeth Mutuko, TV 47, Nairobi.